Good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. Yes, sirree. A very good morning, and I am terribly sorry. I am terribly sorry. Please accept my apologies for being a few minutes late getting cranked up here this morning. But let me take a look here. I see that a lot of you are already out there on the other platforms. Facebook's still coming alive, and I imagine that's because I was a little bit late coming online this morning. Again, please accept my apologies. Today, we're going to say a happy anniversary to our Prime Minister, who is celebrating an anniversary, his 34th anniversary as a parliamentarian. He was first elected as parliamentary representative for St. George Northwest back in 1984 in the general elections then, as a member of the New National Party, which was, at the time, as many of you might recall, was under the leadership of Prime Minister H.A. Blaze. Okay. In that first election, Dr. Mitchell secured 1,370 votes of the 2,386 that were cast. Huh? Yeah. And since then, he's been elected by the people of his constituency in each of the general elections taking place. Some kind of track record, eh? Happy anniversary, Prime Minister. I also see here that he's now serving his 5th term as Prime Minister, and he's the only politician from that period who still remains in active politics. Oh. So there you go. Happy anniversary, Mr. Prime Minister. And as I speak, Veronica has come alive out there on Facebook. Good morning to you, Veronica. Nice to see you. Now, what are we dealing with this morning? First of all, I had to talk about the Prime Minister's anniversary. And coming up next, I want to play you a clip from Sunday's edition of Sundays with George Grant. I had 3 union leaders in here, sitting right here, boy. 3. Not 1, not 2, but 3. And I want you to hear a clip from that conversation on Sunday. Should make you stop and think. We also have the national report for you, as we do every morning. And then I understand he's going to be here. He is going to be here. Mr. Ray Roberts rides again. Huh? Looking forward to welcoming Ray. And we're going to wrap it up with the Caribbean Literature Quote of the Week. Now, you might remember that I usually do that every Monday morning. But yesterday we had quite a bit going on, and as a result, I decided to push it back just a little bit to today. Okay? So we'll run that by you this week. This week's edition was done by a young lady by the name of Tamika Binda. She's done several of those, and just in case you ever miss it on a Sunday morning, on the Facebook page, you can always go take a look at them. All right? Now, on Sunday, as I mentioned, we had 3 union leaders in here, and I bet that those of you who joined us would have walked away with a feeling that there's great hope for a resolution to the pending crisis between the unions and the government of Grenada. But I'm also sure that many of you probably observed that there's a lot of garbage, a lot of nastiness emerging out there. I pulled a little clip, I think it's about 6 minutes or so long, from the program that's going to show you a little bit of both. the good and the bad. Here is the president of the Grenada Union of Teachers, young man by the name of Lyden Lewis. He's been labeled as being the person who started this whole brouhaha. Okay, so take a look at this.
George, the issue of pension and gratuity, and some people are taking claim and fame to the discussions. Two things would have happened. The Humlin Armstrong judgment would have happened. And the Humlin Armstrong judgment is now being called to play, and for several reasons. However, the other reason is that of age. Now, governments before could have afforded to kick the can down the road. The can no longer be kicked down the road because our people are now retiring to the effects of the pension issue. And so it is important to note that fact, that there was no way that this government could avoid that. So whether they see it as a positive or a negative, these are the facts. More people are retiring now after 30, 35 years, and more people are feeling the adverse effects. So it has to be dealt with, and this is where we are at now. And it's important to point to that the government did not put hand in the sky and say, welcome, and let's do this thing together. It was only the fact that our members are retiring, the trade union movement wanted something done. And yes, the Prime Minister would have indicated that he is willing to do something also. So it is not a one-sided thing as some persons are making it out to be. Mm-hmm. And it's a critical one for us at this time.
You know, I know you missed a little bit of the conversation. We've been chatting here for about half an hour, but something I pointed out to Lyden a little while ago is that when I'm sitting here listening to these guys, I'm hearing a conciliatory tone. I'm hearing optimism. Things could work. You're not surrendering. You're not backing down, but you're hopeful. Okay.
Certainly, and persons must understand that trying to find a solution is not a show of weakness. In fact, it's a show of strength. Because I don't know any war that was won on the battlefield. You had to go around the table to discuss. And you had to go to put your cards over and see what could be happening. Because remember, if you go back in history, there is always a treaty of this and a treaty of that, meaning that the persons came around the table. We are prepared to struggle. We are prepared to fight for equal rights and justice. However, we understand the importance of going to the table. Now, this pension issue could be resolved very simply in a judge, with an undertaking to admit that up to the formula, and let's see how we can pay. How is it that governments and union can come to an arrangement and say, okay, I owe you $100,000, just for argument's sake, in gratuity payment, but I can't pay all up front. So I'm going to give you 50, and then in the next year or two, we'll work out a deal to pay the next 50. You can't do as if you don't have a commitment towards the pension and gratuity. And I think this is a sour point. So we are willing to go to the table. However, as trade unionists, we cannot give up our right, our spirit to fight a struggle. We can't.
Would you be happier if you saw a more conciliatory tone coming from the administration? You're prepared now to go into negotiations big time this week, okay? Wouldn't it make things a little bit easier if you didn't have to deal with some of the rhetoric that's out there?
Well, certainly, especially, I don't want to say especially for me because we've not discussed our personal thing. But it has come to the point where persons are calling certain radio stations and insinuating threats. You know, I understand that somebody said in a radio program last week that I need to be lining by Lacroix in a coffin. I mean, that radio station has done absolutely nothing about that. So it is affecting your lifestyle. I'm one who goes out, who would look for where my friends are. I have to be careful now. The supporters are casting negative remarks when I drive past or I stop. So it has taken on a new life. And it is apparent that their twisting it so much to see as if it's become a political issue. And that's not the case. Pension is a right. It's something that affects all of us. And so to narrow it down to become enemy of the state number one, or we as leaders to be labeled that way, it's difficult. And we all have families, so our families keep looking out for us. We are prepared to negotiate a solution. We're prepared to go back to the table. However, we cannot become intimidated. We cannot become battle shy or battle weary. It is what we do as trade unionists, so we have to keep our struggles. We have to keep our members at the forefront. This is not for me as it seems to be made out. This is not about me. We have a battle room in the GUT. And when we go to the battle room and the members say, boss, that's the way we're going, I have no option. You know, I'm brave enough to carry out the mandate. And it seems as though it's a one-man thing, but it's not. We've started the struggle. And GUT did not go this thing alone. In fact, before we took the action, my colleagues here, well, you all were aware. We came to a meeting, we discussed it. I said, look, we're going to fire that first shot. And they said, yes, we're in it together, and then we'll join at different phases. If government doesn't want that, then the nation loses.
Yeah. There you have it, Mr. Lyden Lewis, talking with me right here on Sunday morning. And by the way, also part of that conversation were Mr. Andre Lewis, who is the President General of the Technical and Allied Workers Union. And they were both joined by Rachel Roberts, who is the President of the Public Workers Union. As you sat and watched or listened to that piece, I'm sure you got a slightly different perspective of what's actually going on and how the unions feel. Unfortunately, the unions do not necessarily have the sort of PR mechanism that government does. And so you tend to hear a lot of how the government feels about this whole issue. Well, Lyden opened up a little bit and told us some things which I thought were very, very encouraging and give us reason for hope. But then again, there's a piece in there which I think raises some very, very serious concerns about the mood in this country today. All right, I'll tell you what, 18 minutes after 9 o'clock, if you're watching us live, let me take a little break here, and then we'll come on back with today's edition of the National Report.
Hubbard's, bringing you Frigidaire Christmas cheer. With the purchase of any Frigidaire fridge, freezer, stove, washer, or air conditioning unit, you get a free 3-piece Frigidaire non-stick pot set. Come into our appliance department on the Carronage and Building Supplies Grandance to get your trusted Frigidaire products and enhance your cooking this Christmas. Offer available while stocks last. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Boy, it's Christmas again. Spread some cheer and show you care with Grenlec's Give-A-Wish promotion. Do you know someone who has had a challenging year and deserves some good fortune, or a worthy cause that needs extra support? Grant them a wish this holiday season with Grenlec. Just pay your bill in full, then write their name, address, and phone number on the top portion of your bill. Add your phone number and drop it into the wish box at any of our Grenlec customer centers, or you can enter online via our Facebook page. 15 customers will receive a $500 electricity voucher for giving a wish to someone who deserves it. And 15 winners will each have their wish granted, valued at up to $1,500. What's more, 230 lucky customers will win $75 electricity vouchers. Spread the cheer this year with Grenlec's Give-A-Wish promotion. Visit our website or Facebook page for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Promotion ends December 21st.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Okie doke, folks. We're standing by to see whether we're going to hear from Ray or not. He did send me a note yesterday saying that he would be with us this morning. Just before I fire up the national report from the GIS, let's take a look, see who they on Facebook this morning. We've already acknowledged the presence of Veronica Sandy. Loyal, aren't you, young lady? Thank you so much. Thaddeus Bonaparte is saying good morning to everybody. Irene Rattan is saying good morning, George. Fitzroy Adams saying enough is enough. Time for KCM to go. Judy Lewis Joseph saying good morning to you all as well. And so is Mickaman Alexander. You know, every time I come across that name, I sort of pause because I'm not exactly sure that I'm pronouncing it properly. Mickaman. Mickaman? I don't know. Nice to have you as well, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. He's saying good morning to the class. Irene says the Grenadian people know what's going on. They are not fooled by the propaganda of the government. The Grenadian masses are in total solidarity with the workers. So says Irene. Veronica Sandy says, Mr. Lewis, all this negative came from ignorant people. From the top. This fight is not politically correct, but for the future Grenadians. But for their future, Grenadians, wake up. So says Veronica. Okie doke, folks. Let me fire up now the edition of the National Report, which came in late last night.
Survey reports being processed for start of work at the Morris Bishop International Airport. Details to this story and more coming up in the National Report. Welcome back with the details to the news for Monday, December 3rd. I am Wendy Edmond. Resurfacing of the runway and replacement of lights with LED lights are two of the first projects to be undertaken in Phase 1 of the expansion and renovation work at the Morris Bishop International Airport. Sherry Anwell spoke with Mistress Wendy Francette Williams, General Manager of the Grenada Airports Authority, on Monday.
Airside safety surveys have been completed and the information is now being compiled into a report to be handed in before the commencement of work on the Morris Bishop International Airport. During an interview with the Government Information Service on Monday, General Manager Mrs. Wendy Francette Williams said the survey is necessary because of the scope of work to be carried out.
The construction of the bypass road, right, and that will come early in 2019. We will also see runway resurfacing, the beginning of construction of runway rehabilitation and resurfacing. And also, we're putting into that critical package the purchase of an incinerator. We are also going to change out the runway lighting, right, to LED lighting. And we're also going to change out the equipment in the AGL, the ground lighting room, where all the equipment is stored and it powers the runway and other areas of the airport. So if we are changing to LED lighting, obviously we'll have to change some of the equipment in that mech room.
The MBA General Manager says it is mandatory that the runway be resurfaced within 10 to 12 years of use. To ensure that the operations continue as normal when work commences, Mrs. Francette Williams says her team will look at the master schedule of flights and take into consideration the lull periods so that the contractors can schedule the work.
This airport will be very easy to do because it's not a 24-hour airport. It's an airport that operates between 5:30 to 10:30 daily. So between 10:30 to 5:30 a.m., that is when most of the work airside will be done. There would be days in the week that we can get work done because you choose the days that are off-peak days, right? At Maurice Bishop International Airport, the peak days are Saturdays, most likely Sundays. I'm seeing Mondays and sometimes Thursdays. So you will find that the other days of the week you could actually get some work done.
Once work is scheduled within the time frame given, it is an achievable goal.
When you do runway resurfacing and so on, you're doing part by part. So it's not that a plain cannot land. When you finish a part, I think the airport can continue because they have to finish that part within the particular period of time. Whether it's hot mix or cold mix, most likely it will be hot mix that will be used asphalt. And based on that, it can dry within a couple hours or so. So I think airports are accustomed doing runway resurfacing and so on, and normal operations continue. There may be delays, but those delays will plan. The airport will plan with the airlines those delays, and we should see a continuance of service as normal within the time that it will take to do runway rehabilitation and resurfacing.
9,000 feet of runway has to be resurfaced, a job that is estimated to take between 3 to 4 months, providing there are no delays. For the National Report, I am Sherry Ann Noel.
Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell is in Port of Spain, Trinidad for the 18th special meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community on the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME. At the last Heads of Government meeting in Jamaica in July, CARICOM leaders agreed that there is need to focus more on CSME, hence this week's special meeting. Agenda items for this week's meeting will include discussion on the topic Perspectives for an Effective and Meaningful CARICOM Single Market and Economy. CARICOM leaders are also expected to discuss the CSME as a platform for growth and development and the report on the Commission to review Jamaica's relations within the CARICOM and CARIFORUM frameworks, as well as support programs and measures. Dr. Mitchell will return to the state on Wednesday. In his absence, Honorable Gregory Bowen has been appointed acting Prime Minister. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank has described as unfounded and unhelpful speculation that Republic Financial Holdings' acquisition of Scotiabank's operations in the ECCU could lead to the depletion of the foreign reserves that back the EC dollar. The ECCB issued a news release saying it is clear and resolute about its mandate to protect the EC dollar, and it made it abundantly clear that it will continue to maintain very high levels of foreign reserves, as it has done for the past 35 years. The ECCB added that it has received an application from Republic Financial Holdings seeking regulatory approval to acquire the Bank of Nova Scotia's operations and the businesses in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. This application was received on Tuesday, 27th November. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Yeah, I know you're from back to back, Kenner. There's no way Balaman can ever beat you. When you are about 5 one of the last. Again, too fast. Man, run with hold on. Renee, you're the same girl. Now all the amount of in truth. Yeah. That's a chance. Hold on. It's the walk.
Whenever a pedestrian is attempting to cross a pedestrian crossing or any other road, he must first stop and make sure that there is no oncoming vehicle. However, if there is any oncoming vehicle, he crosses briskly from one side to the other. If there is any vehicle proceeding, he ensures that vehicles come to a complete stop. After that vehicle comes to a complete stop, he crosses briskly from one side to the other. Remember, your safety comes first.
Finally, in the news, the winners in concert at the Grenada Trade Center on Thursday will bring the curtains down on weeks of friendly competition in the Revive the Festival of the Arts. The Division of Culture says the competition, which made a return after 9 years, recorded a high level of participation in all categories. Festival of the Arts normally caters to primary and secondary level students, showcasing their talent in various categories, including music, dance, theater, and visual arts, which made its debut this year in the festival. However, this year there was a new component added to the festival. It was also extended to communities for participation. Acting Chief Cultural Officer Susan Jones-Benjamin says the festival has provided professionals in the arts with the skill set they now possess, a testament to the significance of the initiative.
So many persons, like you have rightly said, have gone through the Festival of the Arts, and that is where they got that's where the confidence was built. That is where the platform, and that was the whole idea of having the Festival of the Arts, to set that platform for persons to share their skill, share their talents, and you can see it only growing and blossom, over the years, like, of course, Mr. Killer and Natty and Thunder, and, Tamaris and Bernard Dennison and Paul, Kenroy Batiste, there are so many persons, Katisha Williams, that have gone through the Festival of the Arts, and you see how important it is, very, very crucial in your whole character development and character building and self-awareness and self-confidence.
The Acting Chief Cultural Officer is urging the public to come out to the winners in concert on Thursday, 6 December at the Grenada Trade Center, where many of the submissions will be showcased.
The very best, the best of the best. It's a showcase of the great talents we have in Grenada. And I want persons to really, really come down, just sit down and relax and enjoy what we have to offer. It's of the very best. The competition was very stiff in some areas, and a person's going to come down with a posse to really rejoice, for persons to be receiving trophies. So we're asking each school to send a representative, and of course the persons who place first, second and third, they will be getting trophies, so they need to come down at the Trade Center. We begin at 5. They should be seated by 4:45, of course.
And that's a wrap for the National Report for today, December 3rd, 2018. On behalf of all of us in the newsroom, I'm Wendy Edmond, thanking you for viewing.
Bank is making Christmas wishes come true. Fix up your home, treat your loved ones, and get everything on your Christmas list this year with our no-fuss loans. As we count down the 12 days to Christmas, you can win awesome prizes every day. Special terms and conditions apply.
Christmas wishes come true with Go Bank and you.
With free island-wide delivery, Hubbard's Building Supplies and Lumber Departments continue to provide the best quality lumber, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical and general hardware supplies at competitive prices. We continually consult with builders, homeowners and contractors to improve product range and services. Enjoy discounts where applicable, including the use of credit and debit cards. At Hubbard's Building Supplies, Grandance and Lumber Department, Caranage, we offer quality service, affordable prices, giving you the convenient, reliable, free island-wide delivery. Call 440-2087 for all your home improvement and building solutions.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Alrighty, folks. Alrighty. He is here. He is here. But just before I get to Mr. Roberts, I want to get back here to Facebook for just a wee bit because we've been joined by a few more people. First of all, Yvonne Joseph is saying, good morning, George and friends. You know, Yvonne, thank you so much for using that word, friends. I really feel honored when I see people using that to describe this little assembly that we have here on Grenada Broadcast, whether it's on the Gudday Grenada edition or especially on the Sundays with George Grant, where you have hundreds and hundreds of people who show up for that program. So thank you very much. And having said that, I hope you'll spread the word around by giving us a thumbs up and, you know, asking folks to like us and also share, please. Okay? I haven't seen Margaret this morning, so I have to take the responsibility to do that, to ask you to like us and share. We're also joined by T.F. Richards, who says, good morning, Brother Grant and the comrades of the Spice Isle. Good morning, T.F. And I wonder what that F is for. Frankfurt? Fiddle diddle? I don't know. Bernard Gilbert is also saying good morning, everyone. And we've also now been joined by Beverly Mitchell. See, that group of friends keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Thank you so much for being here. Now, take a look at that. Take a look. Take a look at that. Take a look at that. Always such a big smile on his face. Good morning, Mr. Roberts, and how art thou?
Well, I certainly will not complain, and would want to say good morning to all your viewers and listeners, wherever you may be. Trust it's a great morning, and things are well and wonderful.
Well, we are pleased to have you here this morning, and got to ask you this. I got to ask you this every Tuesday morning. Did you go to the beach this morning?
No, if I go, I would be absent here. I'm getting there because let me say to you, I'm using the technology home and seeing you perfectly. Mm-hmm. But again, sometimes I come to the Olympic office to get some things done, and this morning I had to. Okay. So I had to kill two birds with one stone. Come to you and then go to the office, which is not far from you, about 50 meters.
Okay,
Right.
that's fine.
Right.
All right, now I'll tell you what, Ray. This morning, I want you to start by telling me whether you're still closely following this industrial impasse, or have things changed somewhat.
Well, it is in my blood. It is actually something let's put it this way. It's like 3 meals a day for me, because remember, I am still considering myself a part of the labor movement, and that is inseparable. So for me, every step of the way, I'm taking the greatest interest, because without a doubt, I have an interest in seeing those who succeeded me in the public service and those to come enjoy some form of rewards at the end of their retirement. And I do not hesitate to say that what is being fought for by the unions and the workers, it's a just reward. I will admit at the same time there has to be some reorganization, but it has to be done within a context where people are not disadvantaged. And it is ridiculous to say 2% and then to say fiscal space. I mean, who determines that? What's the criteria? Is it George Grant going to determine it? And when his friend Ray Roberts retires, he says there's space. And when John ready to retire, he says, no, there's no space.
Well, let me ask you something. Didn't we hear sometime towards the end of last week that the 2% was taken off the table?
Well, it is said, but there must be new numbers. And the only number, as far as I know, that is relevant is the 25%. Clearly,
the unions are standing firm on
well, that can't be changed. The British, who instituted that 60 years ago, I'm sure they thought of it and the longevity of it. What we have failed to do is not to, since we have become an independence nation, we have not addressed what we met there. So to some extent it may be lacking dynamism, but the responsibility certainly is in the hands of the government, and the people have championed it. It's just the government has not listened. And I think there's still a little time, not much time, for us to make the necessary arrangements so people are not disadvantaged in any way.
You mentioned the British government. I guess what you're saying here is you're insisting that the Constitution be adhered to.
Well, if you don't do that, then what's the purpose? We may as well live in the jungle.
Well, you know, it's interesting you mentioned that, Ray, because it's not just pertaining to this impasse that we're seeing a disregard for the Constitution. I mean, in the run-up to the point we're at now, there have been so many instances where it seems like, you know, people are just thumbing their noses at the Constitution.
Well, I think the deficit is that I would say a large section of the population, that is not their awareness. They don't have that awareness. So maybe the failure of the two referenda may be something that will help us to recognize that there is a supreme law. And we may not need to know everything, but we must know some of the basic things that pertains to our everyday life.
Maybe.
It's a pretty big book. Well, it's not a pretty big book, but that's, I mean, it's something that you can't all absorb one time. But there are basic things that you need to keep in, you know, in your memory and ensure that they are respected. And the pension is one of pension and gratuity. You know, those two things must be respected.
You know, you mentioned it cannot be all absorbed at one time. And I think one of the reasons for that is just the lingo in which this stuff is written. You know, it's not stuff that a bonehead like me could understand.
Right. Well, you're correct. But I think we have leaders, and I think they understand it. I think it's just a matter of tricking the people. I think it's...
listen, do you really believe our leaders understand the Constitution? When you see what's going on,
well,
I think
it's most of them certainly have an understanding. They have lawyers to interpret it for them. I mean, they participate in major activities that require you to have some knowledge, you know, of issues of that kind. I think it is 90% dishonesty. There's no question about it. I mean, let's take, and I like to take this one, the Representation of the People's Act. So we can't see as a people and as leaders that act has to be remodeled. You can't have people just saying, my name is George Grant, and go and vote. Cheating will certainly be there. So I'm saying when we ignore that, it is so basic that if you are required to take a picture, why are you not showing up with that picture card? If you lose it, find a way of getting another one, or justifying why you are not in possession of it. But I mean, our leaders find ways to make it as simple as possible to cheat. So that's what I'm saying, that there was a debate last night in a meeting I was in. What are the problems we face? The major problems we face. Honest people are not very prevalent in leadership in Grenada. Honest people, they're just not. I mean, everybody looks for the back door, the shortest way to heaven. I think Grenadians, most of us know the shortcut to heaven. No, I'm dead serious, because you can see some of the things that we seemingly create a bitter debate. Let's take that pension thing. There is no question about it. Why Barbados is 65 years. The workers are paying 7%. We have the same recommendations, almost 20 years old, or more than 20 years. Why are we not implementing it? We have the same statistical minds, the same actuary operates across the Caribbean. So if other countries are using the recommendations as they grow along in the country's development, why are we putting it on the shelf? One, if we tell people we're going to bring the age to 665, we may lose some votes. If we tell people, and none of us like to pay, but if we tell people we're going to bring the NIS payment from 4% to 7% over 5 years, some people will grumble, and we don't want to make it a debate. So that's the problem we face. I mean, some people will lose power for doing the right thing. Others will not lose power for doing the right thing. Yeah.
All right. Before we move on, I just want to say you must have said something that pinched a nerve, because we have now lost our link to Facebook. Okay, so yeah, I think that's all we can do. Laugh at this, okay? Because it is so obvious, right? It is so obvious. Anyhow, I also want to take a moment here to say hi to a number of people who have now joined us on Facebook. Well, a few minutes ago, joined us on Facebook before we were disconnected. Ella May, I am so pleased to see this lady, Ella May Jackson. Ella May is saying, good morning, George Grant. Good morning to you, Ella May. Ella May lives in the United States, used to work here in Grenada. I used to live here. Margaret Francis is saying she's late this morning.
Okay.
A little while ago, I wondered, how come we haven't seen Margaret?
All right.
And here she is saying, "Hi, I was late." Yoli Sill is saying, good morning, George and Ray. Emma Ventura is saying, enjoy listening to your program, Mr. Grant. Hi, all. Thank you so much for your kind words, Emma. Yoli Sill is saying, good morning, friends. And Nesta Aberdeen out there in Switzerland is saying, good morning, George, Ray, and all. Season's greetings. Well, season's greetings to you too, Ness. Hi to the kids for me, please. Lydia James is saying, good morning, George, and good morning, Ray, my old schoolmate. Do you know Lydia James?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, she has kept very well, actually.
Kester Decoto says 0.00%. I'm not sure what he's... Okay, hold on. He comes back here and says, I'm union for 25 years. You have to pay into something to receive benefits.
That's true. Yeah. But the point is, we met something that we didn't have to pay into. So you can't blame the workers. It is the people who we elect must change it. And that recommendation is there too.
Boy, you're asking a hell of a lot from the people we elected.
No. I mean, that's what you're there to do. I mean, the conservatives, I guess he's in the United States, they said before they're going to pick all conservative judges.
Okay.
So the people who wanted that, they didn't look at anything else, but they look at the fact that they had a man saying all conservative judges, he named them. So I'm saying the government must come, whichever government it is, not necessarily NNP and NDC, whichever government is in power, say, look, this has to be reformed. And here are the consequences, but down the road, that's going to make us stronger.
Absolutely. Okay. Lydia James is saying, is it my live alone that's stuck? No, Lydia. I was just explaining to Ray that he must have said something a little while ago that, triggered the automatic switch. And, hey, you understand it. Yvonne Joseph says, as soon as Mr. Roberts come on the program, gone. See?
I prayed last night and I prayed this morning. I do that every day.
Yeah, Ray. Ray, I mean, it's shameful when even the people out there, I mean, I have known what's going on because they put me through this for years, okay? But when people out there, the audience, they recognize it, it's so obvious, you can't blame them for being cynical. So Lydia answers and says, yes, it's stuck, only buffering. Then John Kennison out there in Carriacou says, the truth hurts, doesn't it?
Often hurts.
Yeah, it does.
That's if you have a soul.
Marina Williams Johnson says, I heard the GIS report clearly. Only silence since Ray has joined in. What a pity. Ray, we have to get you off this program.
Yeah, I would think so. Or you have to record me in secret and then just play me.
yeah. You're causing problems. Ray, on Sunday, we don't have a lot of time left, but on Sunday, I had 3 union leaders sitting in here with me, Andre, Rachel, and Leiden. They were all sitting here. And I was telling them how impressed I was and how much hope it gave to me to hear the tone in which they were addressing this issue. They were optimistic.
Right.
They were not bombasting the government. They were taking the high road. But yet there are some instances, and I played a clip this morning where Lyndon was explaining that threats have been coming his way. I mean, isn't that unfortunate?
Well, let's put it this way. That's a territory. So you obviously, I know the Grenadian territory in Toby. I live here all my life. So I know what to expect. I know what not to expect. You know, sometimes I hear people say, look, the government is not doing anything for me. They have not fixed my road. And then I say to them, I'm not defending the government, but if I'm in the government, I don't know that I have a responsibility to fix every road. Why not say to the villagers, let's come together. Everybody put something. And then throw it on your representative or throw it on the government. We have $10. We short of 20. Or we short of 5. Make the difference. And if they did nothing, then you take up the issue. But if they have to do every little corner, or build a house for everybody, every supporter, you know, so I think sometimes you really just have to appreciate the fact that not everybody is at the same level.
It's impossible to build a house for everybody, but you know, I mean, come election time, these guys just go out and make promise after promise after promise. Now, that's one thing. The other thing, Ray, is that we are suckered into those promises. We buy, not we, but a lot of people buy them.
I would think, I would say maybe, because I think people like you and me, I don't listen to that kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
I listen to, in fact, like I say to people, when I spent the 5 years in Parliament, I was not interested with the big numbers, because really and truly, you know, well, you're in the business here analyzing, those numbers never materialize.
Yeah.
Maybe 60%, 70%. I'm more interested in the line item. What are you doing when you say you're going to fix the schools? At the end of the period, how many schools were repaired?
Right.
So for me, those are the things I listen to, what you're going to do that I can identify with or other people can identify with. But promises will always be something that you can fool people with, George.
Yeah.
I have met folks who said, this is a great guy. He took me into a restaurant and he said, drink. You went home drunk and you felt great. I didn't drink and I felt he was a dumb guy because all he did, he was, you know. So I think education, you know, the one thing I would say, I was never converted PRG, but I always say to people, the best 4 years of my working life was with the PRG, because for one thing, they had something, whether it was indoctrination or not, I wasn't indoctrinated on Wednesdays, where they brought the Caribbean to you and the world to you, and you had a better understanding of why things are occurring, why Coca-Cola has this outreach and why it is so well supported. You know, so I'm saying to us here, we need to begin to do a lot of work at the community level, educate our people that, look, politics had to be more than promises.
Yeah.
Look at the performances of the last 5 years. Have you seen anything worthy of your support this time? Listen to the content. Are they talking about creating real jobs or debushing jobs? Anybody can do a debushing job. So I think that we have to do a lot more. And I believe that next 5-10 years, our people, most of our people, have to reach that level. All the consequences will be, as many of us are experiencing now, a lot of poverty, growing poverty. How many, the government is spending what? Almost 50 million to help people who can't help themselves. We can't continue in this way.
Yeah. Ray, thank you very much, sir, for joining me this morning and skipping the beach. So Tuesday mornings is skip beach time, right?
Well, I have to apologize, and I have to ask whoever may be operating the system, trust me, I will only say great things. not with nothing.
Oh my gosh, Ray, it is so unfortunate. It really is, but at least I'm glad that our public sees and knows what's going on. Thanks a lot, bro.
You're welcome. Look forward to you again next week.
Okay, sure. That's a warning. He's coming back next week, so get ready. Okie doke, Mr. Ray Roberts there. Now, folks, this week's edition of the Caribbean Literature Quote of the Week.
Brought to you by the Grenada Community Library, welcome to the Caribbean Literature Quote of the Week. And Joe said, "Well, one for the road, I peeling off now." And after the drink, he waved his hand and departed. Immediately, a babble of voices broke out in the hut. "Is only nigger friend you make 'em since you come?" his bab asked. "Plenty Indian live 'em this side. It's true them is good neighbor, but you must look for Indian friend like you and your wife. Indian must keep together." "It's I who pinch him, that is why he cry," Amila's mother said. "Nigger boy put he black on him a better baby face. He too fast again." "But me, these people good to us, we's friends. I does get little things from she, and sometimes she does borrow little things from me. There's not bad people," Tiger said. "If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't know what to do." "What your bab say is right thing though," his uncle said. "Nigger people all right, but you must let Creole keep their distance. You too young to know about these things, but I older than you. All you better make Indian friend." This was an extract from the fiction book A Brighter Sun by Sam Selvon. It is available in the George Parfit Caribbean Collection at the Grenada Community Library, located on number 7 Lucas Street, St. George's. The Grenada Community Library will be hosting their 4th anniversary storybook gala at Sales Restaurant and Bar on December 29, 2018. A Brighter Sun by Sam Selvon is the theme for this year's gala. We invite all to contact the Grenada Community Library for further information regarding this event. The Grenada Community Library expresses its thanks for the kind support of George Grant and GRENADABROADCAST.com. We wish to express our appreciation to the late George Parfit for his generous contribution to the library. We are grateful to have been the recipient of over 1,200 books, all authored by West Indian and Afro-Americans. We invite you to listen every week, find us online, share and spread the wealth and worth of our literature and authors, and visit the Grenada Community Library to borrow great books for free.
Alrighty, folks, there you have it. That young lady's name, Tamika Binda. She's a volunteer down at the Grenada Community Library. She'll be back next week on Monday. And, for those of you who are listening on platforms other than Facebook, obviously you're not listening on Facebook now because Facebook gone since Ray came in here. Just bear in mind that once the program ends, we're going to put it up on the Facebook page, and it's also going to be up on YouTube. And remember that you can always go to YouTube as well as watch it on Facebook. And if you just want to listen, please feel free to join us on Radio Genre, Radio Garden, even on the GrenadaBroadcast.com webpage, top right-hand corner, listen live. You can check us out there. and also on TuneIn. All right, quick break now, folks, and right after that, we are going to have today's inspirational word.
Why wish upon a star? For a bank is better by far. Whatever you're wishing for this Christmas, will give you low interest and no fuss.
Co-op Bank is making Christmas wishes come true. Fix up your home, treat your loved ones, and get everything on your Christmas list this year with our no-fuss loans. As we count down the 12 days to Christmas, you can win awesome prizes every day. Special terms and conditions apply.
Christmas wishes come true with Co-op Bank and you.
Spread some cheer and show you care with Grenlex Give a Wish promotion. Do you know someone who has had a challenging year and deserves some good fortune, or a worthy cause that needs extra support? Grant them a wish this holiday season with Grenlex. Just pay your bill in full, then write their name, address, and phone number on the top portion of your bill. Add your phone number and drop it into the wish box at any of our Grenlex customer centers, or you can enter online via our Facebook page. 15 customers will receive a $500 electricity voucher for giving a wish to someone who deserves it. And 15 winners will each have their wish granted, valued at up to $1,500. What's more, 230 lucky customers will win $75 electricity vouchers. Spread the cheer this year with Grenlex Give a Wish promotion. Visit our website or Facebook page for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Promotion ends December 21st.
Okie dokie, folks. Just about time to pull the curtain down on today's Gudday Grenada. But before we go, let's turn to the Holy Scriptures, our guide. Today, the book of Romans, chapter 10, verses 9 and 10. If you declare with your mouth, Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is with your heart that you believe and are justified, and it is with your mouth that you profess your faith and are saved. Encouraging? Yeah, my dear friends, very encouraging. And I hope you will join Ray. You heard Ray say a little while ago that he prays for me. I pray a lot for me. I pray for you guys as well. And I hope that you guys will pray for me. I mean, what's been happening to us here on this program over the last 6 months, it's not just annoying to me. It's a nuisance, okay? But I feel embarrassed that you have to be subjected to a dislike what some people have for George Grant. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. I apologize, and to you, that is, for your ordeal, but I'm glad that you understand. So I'm going to extend an invitation to you to join me tomorrow. We never know what's going to happen from day to day. It all depends on, who my guest is or what sort of content that we have planned. And yeah, you've seen it with your own eyes. So just keep your pinkies crossed and keep believing. There are better days ahead. On that note, forgive my optimism. On that note, my dear friends, I'm going to send you God's blessings and thank you so much for tolerating this. And by God's grace, we will see you tomorrow morning at 9.